when you're going through a divorce, a breakup, or a loss of a relationship. Grandma's porch, a place to relax, a place to enjoy. Come visit Grandma's porch. When you're going through a divorce or a breakup, hello y'all, I'm Diana Brienne. Well, I was going to do a video on another subject, but then someone had made a comment in my social media that they were going through, I guess, a separation or a divorce or whatever, and they were feeling a bit sad. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to come on here and talk about this subject. Now, I don't give advice, I don't give suggestions. I just tell you how I see life and my opinion and the way I have done things in my own life. You know, a breakup of any kind, it can be a breakup of a friendship. It can be a breakup of a romantic relationship. It can be a divorce. They all can be pretty traumatic experiences. And, you know, I've had where, you know, I broke up with a friend or two along my life's journey. And I've had it where I broke up with a relationship, a romantic relationship, like a boyfriend. And it was pretty traumatic. And I've also, early on in my 20s, went through a divorce with my first husband. It was a short marriage, but nonetheless, it was a very painful experience. And I've also gone through breakups of romantic relationships early on. Now I've been happily married for around 30 years, so I'm happy. And yet I understand what it's like to go through things like that. And what I found for me is I can talk about my marriage that time, my first marriage that went through a breakup. I think that you question your own self. At least I did. I was like, what did I do wrong? What can I do better? What can I do right? But often it has nothing to do with us. It has to do with them. And in that set of circumstances, it really had nothing to do with me. I was just sort of a byproduct of the whole situation. It was what he was going through. And nonetheless, it was painful and I was saddened. And there were times that I felt like all I could do was lay on the floor and cry. And it was very difficult at times just to get up and go out in life and try to change my focus onto other things. And yet I found that supporting myself with great friendships, relationships, positive things, going to church, being involved in activities, even when I didn't feel like it, tended to produce something more positive in my life than just sitting there and being sad. Because the truth is, just sitting there and being sad is a normal emotion. And it's one that likely we have to go through when we're going through a breakup of any kind. And yet, it is an emotion that doesn't really serve a whole lot of positive purpose beyond that moment. And so for me, when I went through that, I remember he and I went back and forth many times. And actually, in my romantic relationships that I had with boyfriends along the way, that was kind of the same scenario. We went back and forth, break up, make up, break up, make up. can we work this out? Can it, can we work through this? Do you think we can give it another try? And sometimes another try is what is necessary and what does work. And sometimes things will work going forward. And other times you go back and forth to find out that it's not going to work. Sometimes that back and forth movement is important because it either solidifies our decision to leave the relationship, or it solidifies our decision to stay in the relationship. And sometimes going back and forth is the only way to determine one or the other. Nonetheless, it's a very grueling time. It's a very hard time. And often we think we'll never get over it. We'll never get over it. Every relationship I've ever had, way back then that I broke up, I never thought I would ever get over it. I thought I would never get over my first marriage. I thought I would never get over young doctor in love. When I broke off with him, he didn't break off with me, but then I went back with him, and then, it was back and forth. And so sometimes we think that we'll never get over them, but we do. At least I did, and I believe that most people do, given time, but you have to give it time. I believe that when we leave a relationship, we should always leave it on a good note, and we should always leave it better than when we came in, if at all possible. It's not always possible, okay? But if we can, leave it on a good note. That way we can preserve our memories. And sometimes people don't want to preserve the memories. They don't want to preserve the good because then it pulls them back in emotionally, and they feel that they would rather dislike the person and dislike all the memories that they had together. But for me, no. I wanted to hold on to any memories I had in any relationship, because once I was healed over that relationship, I would be able to still embrace and cherish my memories I had with that person. And so breaking up, going through a divorce, breaking up a friendship, whatever it happens to be, is very, very hard, challenging, difficult, and painful. And so none of us want to go through it. None of us do. But I have to tell you that had I not gone through those breakups, I would have never met the love of my life, which is my husband. And so sometimes those relationships come into our lives to teach us something, and they come into our lives for a period of time, and then they exit our lives. Sometimes we break up only to make up and stay together permanently in a more solidified way. So every situation can be different. And so I thought I'd come on here and just talk a little bit about breakups, that it is normal and natural to feel sadness, to feel terribly disappointed and let down by the situation, the other person, ourselves. But I believe in never blaming ourselves, because often it has nothing to do with us, or very little to do with us. It has to do with the other person. They chose us because we fit a certain need in their life, and they left us because they found that that need was already met, or they no longer needed what we had to provide, or there were other reasons for it. And so, like I said, I don't give advice, I don't give suggestions, I just share with you my points of view on different issues. And I try to tap into different issues that I've either experienced, or I've seen other people experienced, or they're experiencing, or that I think about that can help, other people feel like they're not alone. Because you know what? I have had relationships from long ago that broke up, that were very traumatic for me to break up. I'll tell you one more story about breaking up, and it's a little bit different because it's not like a romantic relationship. But when I was little, my mom and my dad broke up, and it traumatized me. Their divorce traumatized me. I would chase my daddy's truck down the street every time he dropped me off back with my mom, and I would run after him and say, "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy, please come back." It's very traumatic. Breakups are often traumatized more than just the two people involved. They can often traumatize the family. So I think people need to think long and hard before they break up, or whatever. Sometimes some people should get a divorce and some people should break up, but other times it's a mistake. And so, but sometimes we can't, that person doesn't realize that mistake until later down the line. And so, like I said, I just wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about it. I don't give advice, I don't give suggestions, as I said, but I wanted to share and let people know that they're not alone if they're going through it. And I believe that given time, we get through things. and we learn to adapt, and we learn to adjust, and then we learn to live again, and we learn to be happy again, and we learn to embrace life again, and perhaps fall in love again. From my house to yours, may God bless you, and I hope to talk to you soon again. Bye-bye. Grandma's porch, a place to relax and a place to enjoy.